I think we're live. Can everybody hear me? I have my microphone on. I thought the only thing I could do to follow that was bring out the luscious locks before we got going. That food looked amazing. I'm super hungry now. Thank you very much. So now I got to wait an hour before I can eat something. So hopefully I need to get rolling pretty quick because I don't know if I'm going to get this done in an hour. I decided to challenge myself a little bit. We're going to do a teardrop shaped lidded box here. Let me switch cameras to so this is what we got going. We'll be doing a little teardrop shaped lidded box. This is East Indian rosewood that I turned this one out of. I've got a nice piece of mesquite that I harvested myself. It's about 3 1/4 inches square and about 6.5 inches long. So we'll get that thing rolling. Let me put my hair up. And I got my nice scrunchie here. I actually got this here in Vegas. It was hand dyed with avocado pits. So if you didn't know, avocado pits, you can dye things with them and it turns this really cool pink color. So I got this at this market that I sell things at, and thought it was really cool, made here in Las Vegas. So, you know, support some local makers and also get something that's kind of cool and unique. Get my face shield here. Everybody hear me all right out there? Hopefully so. I hate this face shield. I'll tell you what. Kind of sucks. I got it at Craft Supplies when I took a class up there. I normally use this one here, but as you can see, it doesn't have much of a shield on it. I was doing some work with some super glue, or Starbond, actually. Check the link below if you need any Starbond. Use the code Braxton to get 10% off. But yeah, I had a big streak of super glue on there because I was too impatient and I didn't let it cure enough. So I tried to clean it with some acetone, and as soon as I hit the acetone to the polycarbonate, it like frosted and then cracked like crazy, like instantly. It was wild. So now I'm stuck with this bad boy. So this, that teardrop shaped lidded box came from this book here. Let me get you a little better lighting. Turn Boxes 50 Designs by Chris Stott. This is a really incredible book. All kinds of detailed, different lidded boxes. I was going to leave a link to the like an Amazon link so I could share that book around, but the only place I found on Amazon was used for like $65, and I searched all over the internet, couldn't find it anywhere. It was I don't know if it's out of print right now or what the deal is, but it's a super cool book. So if you ever see it and you're interested in lidded boxes, I would say snatch it up if it's not too outrageously priced, because it's really like a wealth of knowledge, lots of good inspiration. Also, I saw those guys drinking, so let's get it going. Let's get this party started. All right? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Just kidding. We got some sparkling water, liquid death sparkling water, straight from the Alps, here to murder my thirst. All right, let me switch you over. We'll get that nice chunk of mesquite put up. I'll try to keep an eye on the comments too. There, we got a little bit of a overlay with my top view. Let me move that out of your way a little too. There. That should be good. I'm going to start this between centers with a 4-prong drive. I've already kind of hammered it into the top, marked the centers. We'll get this thing rolling. These are fun to turn and also challenging because you get to work with the proportions of them. I would say that's like the most important part, is getting the proportions right, because you know what a water droplet looks like, and it's not, you know, there's not a lot of variation in shape to them. So if you're too squatty or too long and thin, it's not going to look right. So it's a good exercise in getting your details right. Paying attention to exactly how everything's, looking and working out. Crank it down, make sure nothing's hitting. Who we got out there? Tons of people. Brickhouse Craftworks, William Rose Crates, Florida Bearded Woodworker. Hodgepodge is out there. I really enjoyed that maple burl platter. It looked beautiful. I liked the rim that you did on it with the outward curve. So it would, kind of feel nice in your hands, make you want to grab it. Draw your eyes in as well while you're feeling it. It was a beautiful piece. Also, I would say the standout of the day for me was probably so far was the glass blowing. I don't have any type of experience with that, and it's something that I would really like to try now, especially watching it. It seems like you got to be on your game to do that kind of stuff and not get seriously injured, and that kind of appeals to me. That's sort of a little danger aspect of it. I'm going to start with a spindle roughing gouge. This is oriented like a spindle, end grains at the end, long grain, side grain running this way. So you'll be able to knock the corners off really quickly. Put my horrible face shield down. Hey, Woodbine Collins out there. How's it going, buddy? We're doing a little lidded box. Teardrop shaped lidded box. And I've already wasted 8 minutes blabbing on. Let's get this bad boy cranked up. Nice and secure between centers. I'll run it up pretty quick. Move my camera. Taking a little bit of shrapnel there. How's the upper one looking? Maybe we'll pull it in. There we go. Working my way down. Okay, we're messing around there. You can really hear the difference in the tool. That's a good indication to know when you're round. You can run this. Do one of those on the bottom too. All right. Next, I'm going to mark out for my tenon. I'm using my smaller Vic Mark chuck, the 100 with the little jaws, so I don't need a giant tenon on there. Just a quick mark. Always careful when you're doing that. You don't want to touch the opposite side and have it fling back at you. Scoop my tool rest in just a little bit. A little bit more. Cool. So how's everybody enjoying the craft festival so far? I definitely want to thank Jamie and Carl for including me again this time. I always have a lot of fun. I don't get to do live shows very often anymore, with the kids at home all the time for distance learning and stuff, sucking up all my bandwidth and requiring a lot of constant attention so that they actually get their work done. Recently they've switched to 2 days a week, which is nice, so they get to kind of go socialize a couple days a week and give me a little break and my wife a little break to do the things that we need to do. Run this up. I'll be putting in another tenon on this side in a little bit, but I want to kind of start establishing a shape a little bit. I might not need the entire length, so I'm going to kind of start finessing it a little bit and getting the shape that I'm looking for before I get a tenon on this side, since the tenons are pretty small. For that, I'm going to switch to my bowl gouge. This is a 5/8. And this is a lot like kind of turning a bowl in some sense, because you've got to work the curve around on the outside, think about your shapes and proportions and all that. Just like everything wood turning, like, skills will transfer easily from one type of turning to another. Yeah, she's treated up pretty good. So let's see. Where I'm going to put the bottom. One thing to remember about this too is it has to be parted off, so we can make the teardrop shape like a little bit elongated at first to accommodate for where we're going to cut it or part it. Got a nice fresh edge. Ooh, hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Got a nice fresh edge on this, so it's cutting well. So that's going to start me off there. I'm going to put my tenon on this side, so that way when I cut it in half, I'll be able to finish the inside of both halves. nice flat shoulder here, so it'll be relatively secure. A little bit of vibration there. So I think I'm going to start parting it right about there. And once I get it parted, I can do a bit more of the work of like refining the outside shape. But in the book, they have the part quite a bit higher. And the first time I turned one of these was with Jimmy Clues at his house, and he suggested that I move the part lower down, and I think it really improved the look of the piece. You lose a little bit of storage space, you know, because instead of having a larger cavity at the bottom, but I think it is made up for in the design of the piece itself. So we'll go about there. You don't need too much. Maybe just a little more. Yeah, I'd say that looks good. I'm going to leave the little spigot on the top rather than putting it on the bottom because of the curvature coming in. If I left it on the bottom, the wall thickness might get a little too thin up here. So it'll allow me to, you know, finesse the curve a little bit better. Alright, hopefully everything's going good. You guys all hear me out there? And see if you got any questions at all, or I'm looking back at the chat. Carl says mesquite is very hard and tight grained. That's correct. That's why it's good for lidded boxes. This is also really dry too. You want to use a nice dry piece for boxes so there's no movement in them. Otherwise the lid may not fit. I'm going to start to part this, and I'm going to leave. I've got this the center part nice and flat, and I want to leave just a tiny little ridge on the bottom so I know exactly where to hollow to, so that the lid of my box will fit and I won't have to like measure with calipers or anything like that. That's a little tip that I picked up from yeah, it's looking good. Let's see. Who was that? My goodness, why can't I think of his name now? Give me a second and it'll come to me. He's an Irish turner. I saw him. Actually, he did a demo for at Jimmy's house. He does also has a show where he's I think once or twice a month. Meet the Wood Turner. Pat Carroll is his name. Sorry, Pat. If you ever watch this, apologize. I have no idea. A little brain fart there. Maybe I need some more liquid death. Fire me up. Yeah, mesquite might be a little difficult to get anywhere. I actually cut this one down myself. Or not the tree itself, but cut it all up and processed it myself. It was from my friend's mom's front yard. They saved a bunch of pieces, but it's a really beautiful wood. We're going to have a little bit of sapwood in there. And then the darker heartwood. Should be a nice piece. I don't want to part all the way through it, because that gets kind of sketchy. So I'll just use my little pole saw here to take the halves apart. These are like one of the gems from Harbor Freight. If you ever go to Harbor Freight, pick yourself up one of these. It's like $7, I think, and they're really handy to have. Want to be careful not to cut into the, get cut and crooked, because I'll cut into the bottom of it. See how close we are. Just about there. Almost. There we go. So we've got our top here with the spigot on there. Next I'm going to hollow in and then also kind of refine the bottom shape a little bit. And since I've got that little lip, I know exactly where I can part back to or cut back to without overshooting. Gerard, thank you. Gerard the French Turner, Pat Carroll. That's exactly right. How on earth I could forget Pat Carroll, I do not know. Just nervous. Or I'm nervous about the virtual craft festival. Annie and Chris and Franco did such a fabulous job on their thing before me. It just totally threw me off. I'm switching to a slightly smaller, like a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. Take some material away from back here where I don't need it. Give myself a little working room. I don't need to go too crazy because once I get the top fitted on there, I'm going to take like a light skim coat and even everything out, or a skim cut, because chances are it might be a little bit off when it goes together, so you want to clean everything up. But for now, I think that's looking pretty good. I can come in too with my detail gouge and get that a little bit more, but for now that looks good. I'm going to get it hollowed out now. Let's see, how are we looking for time? 3:25. Move my tailstock back. That in there. All right, on the camera's looking good. I might move this a little bit back to keep it out of the way. I think I'm going to bonk my overhead camera with my head, but I'll just be careful. Tool rest is a little bit low. I want to be cutting right on the center line. I need a couple people reading comments and stuff for me. My goodness. Where's Chris and Andy? Next time, I'm hiring those guys. I think they work for beer. Getting close to the edge, so I want to make sure I don't get back. I'm going to have to pull my tool rest, or my tailstock off. Just get in the way a little. A little bit big of a bite. So now I'm getting pretty close. So I want to think about my final cut here. I'm going to switch to my box scraper. This is a Jimmy signature box scraper. It's a really nice tool. It's got a cool angle on it, so you can come in a little bit from the side and still get a nice cut without having your tool straight in there. I'm going to leave a little bit of a lip for this to rest on as well. And since I've got that ridge on there, I know right where to hollow to. Now that's going to be still a little bit tight. This is the part where it's like slightly tedious too, because you want to stop and check and make sure that you don't overshoot it. It's pretty important to get a nice tight fit at first, so when you're shaping the piece, you're not having it rattle around in there. And then once you get the nice fit, get everything all finished up, you want to sand it back and make sure that it's easy to get the lid on and off, because with the shape of the teardrop, it's hard to grip at the top. So you don't want that tight pop fit, because it's just hard to get it apart. So you want like a nice delicate fit. But that can be done pretty easy after you get everything. Okay, we got a question from Hodgepodge. The square tang works all right with the glues quick release. Well, I'll tell you what, you can get an adapter. With this one, I used my angle grinder, or actually I didn't even use the angle grinder, I used my slow speed grinder. Just knocked the corners off until it fit in there, and it works perfectly. This was I got this before Jimmy had developed the adapters like these, so it was kind of my own hack to get it to work without having to build a whole new tool handle for it. Any other questions? Well, quickly. Oh yeah, W. Bradburn. It's a great tool. I recently had to turn a bunch of platters, and they were kind of weird shaped. They needed to be flat at the bottom because I put them in my laser engraver. So I rounded it over. Right now I've ground it back so it's got that nice sharp point, but I softened that, and it worked perfect for getting a real tight transition around the edge, so I could keep a dead flat bottom for the laser engraver. Let's see, 330. We're doing pretty good. Oh, yeah, they don't work with the Thompson handles, do they? That's why you got to make your own handles. I made this one, like, I think I've had this for about, 6 years now, 5 or 6 years. Still going strong. Okay, so I'm going to slowly work my way back. I don't even want to take much of anything. Just super slow until I see that line disappear, just like that. So like I said, we want to keep it a nice tight fit. Almost there. Feels good at the top. Just need to angle it in a little bit. This was always the hardest part about lidded boxes for me, is getting that good fit. And once you can get that dialed in, I mean, basically you can turn any type of lidded box. So that's good. I just need to make it deeper now. That's good. A little bit deeper. Almost. This is the part where I'm like, don't know if I'm going to make it, because it's stop and go, just to make sure you've got a nice fit. I'm also going to clear a little bit of material out from behind it, so I'm not taking quite so much off. To a rest. Just a bit more. Unless it's this top. Let me quickly run a piece of sandpaper on there, just to make sure. Little bit more. There we go. I think that'll do it. So now I'm going to stay away from this edge. Finish up inside here. We're a little bit thick. At the bottom I can still come down another 1/4 inch or so. And then I'll sand it, finish it. And we'll pull this part off, and I'll put the bottom piece in and start hollowing that out. Or the top piece, I should say. Oh, Brickhouse Craftworks. We'll be back, buddy. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with all you guys out there. I've been dealing with some some a little depression. You know, I haven't been feeling real great. The pandemic hasn't been wonderful for me financially, and it's making me feel, you know, a little bit like not a very good provider for my family, and just dealing with a lot of mental issues like that. It's one of the reasons I haven't been on Instagram or anything like that. It's just sort of I'm just trying to keep to myself and keep my thoughts positive and keep as productive as I can be. But I think about that all the time. Like, I love recording with Carl. I love that, you know, people care what we have to say and listen to us. And what happens when you get too personal. Should be paying attention, not bearing my soul. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. Just trying to get my mind right, get things, you know, worked out with my family. Being on Instagram and stuff like that just didn't help my mental state at all. Still a little thick. I'm going to come back with my bowl gouge. I'm going to ride the bevel a little bit and get a little bit nicer curve at the bottom. Use the old 1/2 inch. So, shout out to anybody out there who's been feeling sad and not too good for anything because of this dang pandemic. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Things are opening up. I've been making a lot more sales at the gallery that I'm in, you know, so it's coming along. Kids are getting back to school. Life is getting back to normal. So I know at least there's, you know, things are getting better. All right, that's feeling pretty good there. That's another reason why I'm really grateful that Carl and Jamie asked me to do this, kind of get me out of my funk, get me out of my comfort zone a little bit, put myself out there. Because it's always fun. I really do enjoy doing the live shows, talking to people. It's a nice change from sitting at home. So now I'm going to got a couple little ridges. We're feeling good. Wall thickness feels nice. I'm happy with the depth. I'm going to use my teardrop scraper here to just sort of drag back, clean up some of those ridges. Luckily with this mesquite, it's so dense and tight grained, it's hard to get tear out on it. So just a few little ridges and lumps. This thing is like a secret weapon. I'll tell you what, I use it so much now. It's like a crutch almost. Helps with giant bowls, small bowls. Alright. Wish you guys could stick your finger inside there and see how nice and smooth it is. Let me grab some sandpaper here. Hold on. Hold on. Got a little lump at the bottom. That's like the bane of my existence. Those little lumps at the bottom. Hard to get out, I'll tell you. There we go. Nice smooth transition. Even wall thickness. Left myself some room down here so I can finish off the contour. I want to stay away from sanding this right now. Like I said, we want a nice tight fit so it's not slopping around. quickly hit it with the 180. Let me slow that down too. It's pretty fast for sanding. $220. Ooh, uh-oh. 19 minutes. Yeesh. I knew I should have just turned the bowl. But at least you guys will get the gist of this, you know what I mean? And hopefully you'll pick up some good tips on lidded boxes. Because they're one of the first things I ever turned when I got to turn them with Jimmy. And it's still my favorite thing to turn. I love turning lidded boxes. Different sizes and shapes. And like I said, once you nail that initial fit, you can take it really anywhere you want, design-wise. Which I love. Okay, we'll call that good for now. Pull this. It's always a good idea. I'm going to mark on here which jaws are which, so that when I get it back in, it'll hopefully be all nice and even. These Vic Mark chucks are great. You don't usually have to worry about that too much, because they're just really well machined. And where to put it? There it is. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going a little backwards here. I'm going to put my tailstock back up. And I'm going to do the outside like that, and then I'm going to hollow the inside once I get the shape more defined. I haven't turned a whole ton of these, so you guys are learning along with me as I practice. Teardrop shapes are a lot of fun. Wrong way. Nope, that's it. Get my speed up there. I'm going to switch back to the 1/2 inch. And actually, we're good and even. So I'm going to start working the top of this. This can be done with a spindle roughing gouge as well, since if you're more comfortable than that with working than working with a bowl gouge. I don't want to get too small, but I want to know, where my transition's going to be. Take a easy little skim coat right across the top. Some away. Alright, So I think that'll be good. I'm going to flip it around to hollow the inside. This one we want to be a little careful with while we're hollowing because it's kind of far out. So you may get a bit of vibration. I'm not going to go super deep on the inside. Oh, 14 minutes. My goodness. Shouldn't have spent all that time yakking in the beginning. A little high on the tool rest. Scoot it in slightly. Yeah, these are typically something I don't want to rush too much, but for the sake of a demo, we don't have too much of a choice here. I don't want to cut into Stone Coat's time. I'm sure they've got something cool planned. I always enjoy their channel. I got the opportunity to see the Artisan Summit when Carl was in it. That was a year or so ago? 2 years, I guess. Couldn't have been last year. And that was really fun. Seeing all kinds of different YouTubers and makers talking about, kind of their story and how they handle their channels and stuff like that. Shout out to Carl for getting me some tickets. It helps having friends in high places. Alright, I'm going to switch to my box scraper now. You get a little bit further in there. I'm not able to pick up the cut far enough, move the end of my handle far enough to pick up the cut. Cool. There's the inside. A little dot in the middle, of course. Switch to my teardrop scraper here. Smooth out the transition. Sorry if I keep hitting the overhead camera. It's kind of low. I think one more pass with that box scraper. I want to make sure I leave myself enough material too up here so I'm not gonna blow through the side of it. Catch the tip either. There we go. All right. Yeah, it feels good. Let me get the sandpaper inside there. Dave Sloan, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate that. Uh-oh, hey, Peter. I'm trying to finish, buddy, but thank you for that. I'm hoping to, but hopefully everybody's got the gist of it, you know what I mean? And you can shut off your computers and go turn one exactly like this. Because they're really not too hard. Just take a little bit of time and finesse. And get everything looking good. Slow that speed down for sanding. What are we at? Oof, 8 minutes. It's going to be a tight one, I'll tell you. I may be able to finish this top right like this and just part it off since I've already taken my skim coat off the top, so, or my skim cut, and everything is nice and even on both pieces. So I think that's what I'll do. Start working back towards the headstock here. Switch back to my 1/2-inch bowl gouge. All this stuff is good up here. I don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to start from this way. My way in. I don't want to take too big of a bite. Ooh. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Little bit of a wobble as it gets thin. There. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? 6 minutes left. How's the overhead view? Maybe I'll cut to that one. Turn off the overlay. So we're almost there. Pretty good. Shape-wise, I could come in just a little bit more up here and refine that curve, and that would probably get me exactly where I need to be for the top. But that's also going to leave me a little bit unstable. So I think for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to suck up every last second that I need here. And luckily, finish-wise, I like to finish everything these days with Mahoney's walnut oil. So it's really easy to apply, really easy to maintain. Put my tailstock back up. Ooh, see, I must have got it with the sandpaper. or hit something that was starting to fall there. Oh yeah, there it went. I hit something with the sandpaper, so it loosened up that fit just enough to where it wants to fall off. One thing you can do is tape it on there too, which is always helps. Just get yourself a little bit of electrical tape or something. That's my preferred tape for this, because it's nice and stretchy. So with that tailstock support, that'll help me. And look, when it fell, it knocked a little piece off there. What do we say, 3 minutes? Let's see what I can do in 3 minutes. I'm not going to need the tenon anymore. So basically this is just here for support now. Where are we getting some vibration from? What's that? Ah, well, there you go. Too much. A splitter. So that we'll call it good there. Am I the only one who blew it on their demo today? Luckily, the good folks at Starbond keep me well stocked with the stuff that I need to clean this up, or to glue that back together, so you'll never even know it. But I think, yeah, what are we at? 2 minutes left. I think we'll call it good there. Hope everybody enjoyed this little almost successful demo. I will be able to get a nice piece out of here as soon as I get that glued together. And we were close to the hour. If I just kept my mouth shut and turned, we would have been all right. So what do we say? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Carl and Jamie again for including me. Thank you to everybody out there watching. All kinds of people, it looks like. Klondike Craftsman, Peter Brown's out there, Jordan Woodworks, Jim Bashir's. Hey Jim, hope everything's good with you. You Do It loves the Starbond. Sylvia the non-crafter, I'm sorry that I didn't get it done for you, but we were pretty close. But thanks to the magic of YouTube. Oh, here we go. Here's our finished piece. The nice delicate fit. A little bead on the bottom to show everybody who turns it over that I've considered all aspects of this piece, all sides of it. I didn't just leave it blank. These are lots of fun to make. If you've never made a lidded box, I would challenge you to do one. They're fun. They sell well. At least for me, they sell pretty well at the gallery that I'm in. Thank you, Sylvia. Silvana. Sorry, Silvana. Joe Garofalo, thank you very much. Michael McEwen, thank you so much. Enjoyed everybody. Enjoyed hanging out. This was a lot of fun to do. Hopefully you get the kind of the idea of what I got going on there. But head over to Stonecoat. I have a link in the description down below. And we will see everybody over there. I'm going to end this and head on over. Thank you, thank you, thank you.